Hello. Today I want to talk about the Starriors and show you my Starriors collection. The Starriors, toy line was created by Tomy and came out in the United States in 1984. Now this toy line has used similar molds on many of the characters utilized by the Zoids of the Zoids toy line, created also by Tomy. Now these toys came out in 1984, were sold in 1985, up to 1985, and then were almost immediately disappeared off of the market. It is thought that due to the competitiveness in the 1980s with many robot toy lines such as GoBots, Transformers, RoboForce, etc., that these toys ultimately diminished. Were almost never to be seen again. Now there was a Marvel four-part series, 4 different comic books that accompanied this toy line, giving the really neat backstory to the Starriors. I won't go into too many of the details, but ultimately the Starriors were created by man due to solar flares that were inevitably going to destroy the surface of the Earth. Man puts himself in a state of suspended animation or hibernation under this base called the Citadel of Dreams, and before he left, he created a robot line, robot warriors to both protect and rebuild the Earth, hence the Protectors, and a second group called the Destructors, which were to destroy any alien creatures or mutants that were to arise out of the solar flares. I begin this Starrior collection. I've been building over probably about 12 years, and I just wanted to show you the different characters before I head off, and then I'll just show you kind of a few fun facts. This here is the Starriors base. It is actually made for the Starriors, although many people used it for a G.I. Joe base because of the Cobra head. But this is called the Citadel of Dreams, and in the comic book, this is where man was thought to be buried deep beneath in his sleep. Here is a Voltar. This is a pterodactyl type creature. It's a second generation. On top is a character called Crank. Crank was a slow-witted figure in the comic series, and was slow-witted due to having the transfer ring slow his mind. Now here I'm showing 3 different figures. These are considered to be the Holy Grail of the Starriors line, called Flash Fist. I probably never had any of these as a kid. Some have said that this toy line here, second generation, was actually never released in the United States, and the figures that we see may have been released through Canada. The leader of the Starriors is called Hotshot, and each Hotshot figure I have actually has a second head on it because he's got a transfer ring on the body. Now Hotshot has these dual laser beams that protrude out of his chest. From behind I have, this one's missing an arm, but we have a Twin Blade character. There's another one right here. We have a Ripsaw who has a rotating shield on his arm. And we have a cut-up figure here. Now below are what are called, these figures that are all stand-up are called wasters. These figures down below are called trashers. They were little mobile wind-up figures that you could buy separately. As we head over to the other side, we are now going into the Destructor realm, or the bad guys of the series. Coolest name of all goes to this character right here, Slaughter Steelgrave. He was the leader of the Destructors. Second generation figure behind him is called Slice. Clawgut is right here. There's a Gouge, Sawtooth, a few mix and match characters that I have created, and a whole bunch of these, I can never quite remember, but they're kind of these Triceratop type creatures, all with riders accompanying them. Now in the back is a second generation figure that I'm most proud of, and this figure is called Bolar, and he has an accompanying thrash whip on his right arm. Now the Bolar figure is arguably just as difficult to obtain as compared to with Flash Fist. Flash Fist being a good guy, Bolar being a bad guy. Now the difficulty again may relate to that these weren't released, and if they were released, they were very difficult to have. I tried as hard as I could as a kid, but I could never figure out how to get one. These are cosmeters. These are robot dinosaurs. He was a blind poet in the comic book, and his guidance system to know where to shoot his explosive discs were controlled by Cricket. This little remote control, well, it's a remote control, obviously here, but in the comic series it was a pterodactyl. I will show you now. Well, I'll talk real quick about the color schemes. For the good guys, there were certain color schemes that would be seen, and other colors you would not see. Yellows, blues, white, and brown were the colors of the good guys, and you would never see red, purple, orange, green, or black. And much more colorful bunches on the other side, the bad guys. They had the purples, reds, oranges, blacks, and even the green, as you can see on Bolar. But they would never have the blue, yellow, white, or brown colors. And I just wanted to quickly show you over here my on-card figures. Here is a Nipper card, and here is Hotshot, Ripsaw, Cut Up, Twin Blade. You can better see the twin blades on his chest. Crank, and the pterodactyl, the Voltar. And as we head over on this side, let me move a couple of these figures out of the way. Here is a Trasher, another little guy, kind of Nipper's counterpart on the bad guy. Slaughter Stillgrave, Clawgut, several Slice figures, Gouge, which I only have one of him, a Ripsaw, Star Runner, and another Cosmeter in the box. One other thing I wanted to point out real quick on these figures was that there were two generations of Wasters that came out, 3 good guys and 3 bad guys. In the first generation, all of the arms in the packaging are seen to be down. So this is Crank, his arms were down. Second generation, first generation, second generation, then first. And this applies to the bad guys as well. Slaughter Stillgrave was the first generation, arms are down, arms are up, second generation, second, first, and first. This can help people quickly identify what is a first and second generation card. The last two figures that I wanted to show I'm most proud of. The first one would be this figure here. This is my Flash Fist. I actually put him on the bad guy side, but he's a good guy. Second generation, as you can tell, with the arms up. Again, very difficult figure to obtain. If you see one of these, they typically go sometimes up to as high as over $300 just because of the low supply of these. And if I can recall the packaging as well, this was actually a one that was again made in Canada. The other figure that I'm even more proud of, which I obtained as a birthday gift, was this figure. And this is the Bolar, again the Thrash Whip, arms are up, second generation. But this is the only on-card figure Bolar that I have ever been able to find. As soon as we were able to get it, well, I don't know, it was probably the coolest gift that I've ever had, given that I'm such a hardcore Starriors fan. The last thing I wanted to point out was just about the toy line itself and why I thought they were so much fun as kids. Pretty simple figure, simple molds, but what was so neat about the figures, as you can see over here, all the parts were interchangeable on the arms, legs, and on many of the heads. And so you could actually mix and match various characters to make new types of characters. So for example, I put a Slice head on a Slaughter Stillgrave body with a Cosmeter right arm, and looks like 2 Ripsaw legs. And you can make all sorts of really kind of neat combination schemes. The only problem is because these characters were so colorful, when you mixed and matched, especially if you mixed good guy and bad guy parts, then it just was this rainbow of weirdness with the characters. So this is only part 1. I'll talk more about the Stars at another time, as well as the other toy lines as well, because they were sold in other countries, sometimes under different names. Specifically, I'd like to show off a few of my robot anti-terror squad figures, which I don't